Hello, everybody from Dr. Filippo. I've got Zoe with me tonight, and I want to welcome you to our program. It's called The Achiever on the Make. And the reason why I have Zoe is because I believe you are an achiever. And I was looking at your website, and I really like the phrase you got as soon as you open it. I got it here with me, and it says, helping encourage resilience through opportunity.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
I love that phrase. I'm gonna take a screenshot and put it like I put quotes on my page once a week, and I think I'm gonna steal that one.
Oh, I like that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So, well, thank you for being on the show. And now, before we dive into the interview, I want to ask you a little bit about you. Who are you? Well,
okay. I am a former teacher and very much an adventure seeker. I'm a blogger, and I'm really seeking to help people to step out of their comfort zone and do something that scares them every day. I'm really passionate about that through my own personal experience. And so I set up my new business, founded Head Right Out in September of last year.
mm-hmm.
And that really is the place where you've got it in a nutshell, that we are helping to encourage that resilience, that strength of mental resilience through taking up as many opportunities as possible and not saying no to things, not avoiding things. So yeah, that's really where I am now, but it's been quite a journey to get to this point.
Okay, so that will lead then to the next question. Why did you decide to do that? Why did you decide?
Yes. I'll take you back 9 years, if I may.
Yeah.
And it just a quick backstory in that I was turning 40 and I needed something. I really felt I needed something to mark that rite of passage into middle age. And I knew it had to be something special, something like a challenge. I wanted to raise money for charity, but I didn't know what it was. And I'd been searching for that right adventure for about 2 years, 18 months to 2 years. So I had a bit of a moment of enlightenment in a bookstore and found the book that just leapt out at me. And it was the Welsh Coast Path handbook. And I skipped to the counter, paid for it, took it away with me. And I knew in that moment that this was the path that I would be walking the following year. I didn't, at that point, realise how much it was going to change my life. I thought it was just going to be a walk, something that I'd wanted to do, and I should point this out, for 15 years, and I had been saying no to it for so long. I didn't think I was capable. I didn't think that I had the ability to do this walk. This was what, elite athletes did. I should say that the Welsh Coast Path is the longest national trail in England. It's 630 miles long. And I took that on board and thought, okay, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it solo to make it even more of a challenge for myself. I hadn't walked that sort of, any sort of long distance path before. I'd never wild camped or solo camped before. So these were all kind of really big challenges for me. Anyway, take you forward to 2011, I walked it. It really did bring up a lot of challenges, and it really made me face my fears, things that I really would have otherwise avoided doing. And in particular, the wild camping situation. So it took me weeks. Out of a 7-week walk, I think it took me into about 4.5 weeks, maybe, probably 3.5 weeks, 3.5 weeks before I actually did my first wild camp on my own. And I kept coaching myself every day, saying, come on, Zoe, you can do this. And then when it actually came to it, I'd find myself a camp spot, in a camping ground. Or I'd have, somebody would spot me and say, oh, do you want to come and stay with us tonight? So I'd go and stay. It'd be hosted by strangers, but wonderful, the kindness of strangers. But the long and short of it is I had to face that fear. And when I did it, I pitched the tent up. I'm in South Cornwall, pitched the tent in a tiny little spot, kind of surrounded by fences and gates that I felt safe in. And then in the middle of the night, I needed to get out to go to the toilet. And I obsessed for about an hour. I can't do it. I didn't know what was going to be out there. You know, when I unzipped the tent, what would be the other side of that tent door? And eventually I had to answer the call to nature. It just got too much. So I unzipped the tent and I just gasped. That sight, those stars, I had never seen such a sky full of so many stars before. And it was quite a poignant and emotional moment for me. So, and in that moment, I realised that not only should I have got out of the tent sooner, I should have actually done it years ago. And I just promised myself there and then that I would never pass up the opportunity to solo walk or wild camp ever again. So I took this back to school with me, and I was started to find myself feeling so much more confident, able to talk to people about it, and it filtered into my day-to-day activities. Again, something that I wasn't expecting. And it wasn't just that experience in the tent. There were lots of other experiences as well that kind of carried through with me into my day-to-day life. And I started realizing it was this experience of being in the outdoors, pushing myself beyond my perceived ability. So pushing myself out of my comfort zone, that actually gave me that extra level of resilience that I perhaps didn't have previously. And, you know, I've always been confident up to a point. I've also always relied on having some reassurance from others. And when you're walking solo, you can't do that. You have to make your own decisions. So you start to really become quite independent with that. So then people started saying to me, so what next? And it's like, I didn't expect there to be a what next. Mm-hmm. I thought it was just going to be a one-off walk to mark my rite of passage into middle age. But there did turn out to be other walks. And so the following year I walked the Welsh Coast Path, which is 830 miles. It's longer. It took me less time because I was a bit more experienced by now. And just purely by chance, it turned out that I ended up being the first woman to walk the Welsh Coast Path.
Wow.
It's a lovely, that was the feeling I got when somebody told me. And it was a moment, what an accolade to have. And I didn't set out to do that. But again, that just added to that sort of tapestry of resilience building that I've got, building up here. And so year on year, I've managed to create a new challenge, and I find I thrive really, really well on challenge. When I've got a focus, I've also got accountability because I've made it public. I've told people, even if it's just telling a friend, but ideally tell people. So you have that accountability, so you've got to go through with it. And I'm quite determined anyway. But it just ensures that you are going to keep moving forward, to strive to achieve what you set out to achieve. So there have been various challenge walks all the way through. I'll just bring you forward to 2017. And in 2017, I'd walked the Pennine Way, which is up through the spine of England, up to the borders of Scotland, and Hadrian's Wall. So I did those both back to back. And I realised in that moment that might be the last time I get to do a long distance walk for quite some time, because both my parents are elderly at this point and frail and needing my support much more. And this concerned me because I knew I wanted to be there for mum and dad, but I also knew how much I thrived on this challenge type adventure. Being in the outdoors, it was my outdoor medicine. That is exactly what I had branded it, my outdoor medicine. And I couldn't imagine coping through all the stresses of caring for mum and dad and the travelling, because it's quite a distance as well to get to them, and not be able to have that outdoor medicine. So I came up with an idea, 100 Mappy Days. So it was basically walking 100 different walks using a map or a map app.
Yeah.
And it could be of any length. And that was ideal, because if I was with mum and dad and I only had an opportunity to, say, walk a mile or mile and a half, then that's fine. I could go and do that. But if I had a weekend where, you know, I had perhaps 3 or 4 hours to spare, then obviously I could go much further. And that was fantastic. Worked really well for me. We lost Dad, unfortunately, in 2018, so Christmas 2018. And that put a whole new perspective on things. And I realised that although I absolutely adore teaching, the act of teaching and seeing students grow and blossom and click, it's like, I've got that now, and seeing them succeed and achieve. I realised there was so much more out there for me, and that teaching wasn't ticking the boxes for me anymore. And I was having to bring a lot of work home, and I so dearly wanted to be pouring my energy and my passion into what I was feeling excited about. And that was about these challenges and encouraging other people to benefit from what I benefited from, being in the outdoors, pushing myself beyond what I thought I was capable of, and then bringing that back into my day-to-day life.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it's...
Can I just say something? Because you remind me of
Yes.
a book. It's called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Have you heard of that book?
I've heard of that book. I haven't read it. But I have.
Yeah, because the thing is, I've been interviewing quite a few entrepreneurs lately, and what I see is that when there's a challenge, you know, some type of genius come up. But with every single one of them, the challenge, they didn't look for the challenge. The challenge came, and then, you know, they came out and something clicked. But you were looking for, you looked for the challenge.
I do now. Yes, absolutely do now.
Well, you told me about those walks, and when I was referring to the book, because what she says, the author says in the book, is to, you know, look for something that is going to push you out of the comfort zone every day.
Yes, yeah.
And
I really should read that.
Yeah, it's an awesome book. But, you know, you said that you actually looked to go to, you know, those walks, and you were scared, the one in the tent. I was like, well, it just, that book clicked and say, hey, you put into practice something that this lady taught a while ago already. So well done.
Well, it's interesting, because I had, one of my fears was leaving teaching. So been teaching in the same school for 13 years, and, you know, very much in that comfort zone financially, you know, the security of that job and the environment that I'm used to. And so I'd been avoiding, you know, leaving, because I didn't know what I would be going on to. But as I said, we lost Dad, and that just really threw a whole new light on things. And so I took the plunge, the leap of faith, if you like, and I had my resignation of February last year. In February of last year. And I didn't know what I would be going on to. I went skiing with the school the following month, and ended up having an accident whereby I tore ligaments in my knee. And actually, the last term that I should have been in the school, I ended up not being there for half of the term because I was on crutches. But that was another thing where I was facing my fears: fear of heights, fear of skiing. Never skied before in my life. And so actually, that also gave me some time to reflect and adjust and think about what it was I was going to then move on to do once I left in July. And that was where Head Right Out was born. And I thought, yeah, this is really what I want to do. I don't know how it's going to evolve. I've really got to kind of just start this journey and see what happens. And for anybody who is a teacher that's listening to this, I think they will all understand and appreciate where I'm coming from here. As teachers, we are planners, and like planning to the nth degree. So we have sheets for everything, and short-term plans, long-term plans, mid-term plans. So the idea of leaving a job with nothing to go to and no plans was mind-blowing, but I did it. And you know what? I haven't looked back. And yes, I've had to simplify my life. I've had to cut back on, sort of lifestyle I would have had. Money has gone down considerably, but I am happy. Really happy, and Head Right Out is still growing. It's still evolving, and I'm really excited about where that's going to in the next 12 months. I mean, I know with coronavirus, we are potentially at a standstill, but actually we're not. That's actually created even more opportunity and more potential, which, yeah, I'm just absolutely buzzing about at the moment.
That is awesome. So you made me curious because for those that are listening, I don't know much about what you do, Zoe. But what do you do with people? So if someone approaches you, and why?
Okay, so let's.
For what things would they approach you, and what would you do?
Most recently, I've actually had 2 or 3 emails from women in particular. I was featured in Woman and Home magazine back in January of this year, and I had an email just recently from a lady who had read the article. I think she'd picked up the magazine sort of belatedly, and she came to it late. And she said, Zoe, she said, I really resonated with your story. I am in this situation where my children are growing up. They're going off to university. I feel like I want to do something, but I don't know how to push myself forward to do that something. And she said, it's not that I'm unhappy. She said to me she was very happily married, very secure, didn't want for anything, but just in her head, she felt like she needed to re-find her identity because her role as mum was changing. It wasn't stopping, obviously, but it was changing, and she just felt like she needed to go on some kind of soul-searching adventure, and that reading my story had perhaps given her the impetus to step forward and try that. But she contacted me and asked me for some advice, and so we had 2 or 3 emails going backwards and forwards, and I feel now that she will go forward and once lockdown's finished and start making plans. She'd asked me about walking in Scotland, if I knew what that was like, and how would she go about wild camping. How does one actually start that if they've never done it before? And what sort of kit do you buy? So yeah, I offer advice for people, but primarily, I want to tell stories and share stories. I'm really, I'm somebody who I like to share whatever I've got, experience, stories. And listening to other people, watching other people, kind of almost living their adventures vicariously. From my point of view, I find that inspires me. So I'm sure there's a whole heap of people out there that will also feel that. But I love connecting with people face to face, like this. Obviously, we have to at the moment, but speaking and actually meeting people and having people come up and say that resonated with me, or I can see myself in you, or I could see myself doing that. So I think it's that, giving people the hope that that they could actually try something too, because I've been and still am a scaredy cat. I still avoid things, and I still have to kind of kick myself and say, stop it, Zoe, just get on and do it. Don't avoid these things.
Yeah, don't we all? I mean, we all have fears, and I mean, your story is amazing.
Yes.
One question I will ask you is, if someone that is listening to this might be, might be a student, might be a mom, might be a father, might be whatever, but they might be stuck, and they need some tips to get on to their next level, to reach their dreams, to go for that thing. What is it, one tip or two that you can give straight away? Someone is going to finish the recording and say, okay, I can apply what Zoe said. What is it that you would say?
So I got two things there, if I can.
Yep.
So the first thing is about building your resilience. So in order to build your resilience, sometimes you need to do that little by little, kind of small little acts of bravery. And I like to call those micro bravery acts. Mm-hmm. So on a micro bravery level, it might be something like picking up the telephone and making that call that you've been avoiding. Mm-hmm. It might be speaking up for yourself, actually saying to somebody, hold on a minute, I actually don't like the way that makes me feel. Please don't say that to me. And that can take a lot of courage for somebody to say something like that. So consciously try and build up a pattern of making yourself participate in these micro bravery acts, and using my head right out 100 series or technique. I just think that really helps to build good habits. They say it takes 2 weeks to build a habit, but you can break it again so easily. But by doing it over 100 days, it really starts to become part of your life, and creates good routine, good habits, good healthy habits. And you're not going to always get it right. Sometimes it won't go right, but that's okay. It's the fact that you are consciously making an effort. You stick a chart up on the wall, tick off every time you've done a day. Is that visual of having a chart can really give you the motivation to keep going. So that was my first thing about micro bravery. But
that's awesome stuff.
Yes, and I think my last tip would be to expect failure. And that sounds really negative, but it's not. Expect the failure and then embrace the fear that goes with it, because that is also normal. And without failing and things going wrong, and without feeling that fear and feeling scared, you can't actually grow those layers of mental resilience. So it was embrace the fear, expect the failure, and evolve the success out of that. It's a journey, and please don't expect things to happen overnight. Just by doing this, that I'm doing, facing the fears and doing something that scares you every day, it's not going to be an overnight success. Yeah. So don't beat yourself up about it. Don't be hard on yourself. It takes time. And I've only been with Head Right Out, and evolving that since September. And I'm not always happy with the way it goes, but I am happy that every mistake I make is another moment for me to learn, okay, that didn't work. I'll try it another way. What's the worst that can happen? So yeah, try and put a positive spin on it.
Absolutely. Look, Zoe, I'm mindful of your time. I don't want to keep you too long, but it's been amazing. I've learned so much good stuff, and there's so much value in this. And I'm sure everybody that's going to listen to this is gonna learn a lot, and it's going to be life changing, especially at this time.
Thank you so much, Filippo.
You're super welcome. One more thing I would say: if someone wants to get in touch with you, I'm gonna attach the link. But what's the best way to do it?
Okay, I have a website, headrightout.com, and people can subscribe there, and also message me on there. However, I am at Head Right Out on all platforms, and Zoe Langley-Wathen on LinkedIn. But if you go to my website, you will find all the links there anyway. But at Head Right Out, wherever.
Look, Zoe, it's been a pleasure and honor. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I want to thank you so much. And we might be in touch again, and you can tell us more about your stories. For
Great.
now, just wanna say, please go to the website, get in touch with Zoe. She's amazing. If you've been listening to this, you probably want to know more about her. So thank you so much for the time, and good luck with everything. You deserve it.
Super. Thank you so much, Filippo. And I've absolutely been honoured to talk with you today. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.